In this activity, which is activity number 9 of level 1 electronics, we're going to make a rainbow with 5 LEDs. To get this activity and all of the other ones for level 1 electronics, visit jb.works and enter the TMT code shown at the bottom of the screen at the search prompt. This is the end result. So basically we've got one 3-volt line going through one resistor, going to a junction here, and we have all 5 LEDs connected to make a lit rainbow, and then these are all of the ground connections. So this circuit's all about having one 3-volt line powering 5 LEDs. So now let's take a look at the circuit. This is our circuit. So starting at the top left-hand side, we've got 3 volts, which is this point here. We're basically feeding it through a jumper into a 1K resistor. Then we come out of the 1K resistor and come into a junction down here. Now that's this junction on the circuit diagram. So now I'm going to explain a little bit more about this junction in detail. So this is our circuit again, but I've isolated the user pins. So these are the user pins mounted on the top. And down here we have a blown up view of them. Now the thing to remember about these is that they are in columns of color. So all of the pins in each column are connected. So for example, all of these pins on the blue column are connected to each other, but they are not connected to the black pins. So for the black pin column, the black pins are all connected together, but they're not connected to the blue or the white pins. So if you look here, we need to feed 5 LEDs from one resistor. And of course, it's impossible to do that with one column because there are only 4 pins. So what we do is we use a jumper to link up these 2 pins here on the first 2 columns. And that gives us 6 pins that are all connected together. And that's exactly what we've got here. So we've got that 1 pin. We've got the junction here, so this is the joining up of the 2 pins at the bottom. Then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins. And that's how we get around the problem of having to connect 6 things together, but only having 4 pins that are normally connected together. For this activity, you need 1 charged JackBord, a top, and 16 short female-to-female jumper wires. Right, to put it together, put the top on top, and then we'll just do our normal power supply connection. There. Five volts. So I'm just connecting up these pins. Right, according to our circuit diagram, the first thing we need to do is to get 3 volts coming from up here. We're going to get that going to the resistor. There. Then we're going to do a link from the other side of the resistor to the user pins down here. So we're going to use the first set, the blue and black ones. But before I do that, I'm going to take a white wire and just link up the 2 at the bottom. So if you look here, you can see that these 2 are linked together. Okay. Then I'm going to take my jumper from the resistor and just link it into one of those pins. Okay. So now the next thing we need to do is we've got power going to the resistor, then the resistor coming into our pins, and we've got 6 pins that we can use now. Well, 5 because we've already used this one. So I'm going to go from the white LED over to the first pin. Then I'll take another jumper and go from the yellow LED and just keep on filling up these pins with wires basically. And that's giving our connection from the 3 volts on the resistor to the LEDs. Then we just go next one, so this is the green one there. And finally we'll do the red one. So now I've got 3 volts going into the resistor, from the resistor into the junction, and now I've got 5 wires with 3 volts on them going to the 5 LEDs. So the last thing we need to do is connect the ground pins of the LEDs to the ground pins along here, and that will complete the circuit. So I'm going to do that now. So the first one, if you start off with the top pin, it's easier because then you're not blocking your progress. Next one. Another one. It's quite a repetitive circuit, this. And so that's the second to last one. And then finally the last ground pin. So now we have all of our ground pins connected. Voila. So this is the complete circuit. So we've got power coming into the resistor, going into the user pins which make the junction, 5 sets of 3 volts going into our LEDs, and then 5 ground lines coming from the LEDs to ground. So if I turn the JackBord on, you'll notice that the LEDs will come on, but they're not very bright. And in fact, on my one, the white and the blue LEDs are barely lit. And this is because we're only using 3 volts to power it. Now, if I wanted to make them all light up, I can unplug the 3 volt power line here and plug it into 5 volts. And you watch. Now, all of the LEDs are lit really nicely. So this is a 5 LED rainbow circuit. These are some pictures to help you put the circuit together. The first thing to note is that the jumper wires that I've been using, because these were shot earlier, are different to the ones in the video. That doesn't really matter, especially as your jumper wires are probably going to be different colors anyhow. The main thing is that you need to make sure that each end of the jumper wire is in the right place. So here we can see going along the center, the white jumper wire coming down to our junction at the bottom. And I've got a close-up of that here, and you can see the white loop is the jumper that's connecting those 2 bottom pins. And that gives us the 6 joined together pins that we need to get the LEDs connected. And in this picture, we can see the connections going from the junction over to our 5 LEDs. For more information, visit jb.works.